Hello, everyone, and welcome to Soul Standing. My name is Beth, and I just got back from my weekend at the TCT ELA conference. It was a conference for members of the Texas Coalition of Teachers of English Language Arts. There were somewhere between 700 and 800 of us, teachers ranging from lower elementary all the way through college professors that are members of this group, and we had a blast. There were several keynote speakers that were authors and that have been educators or are currently educators. A few of the authors either were and or are currently, like Kimberly Garza, who is a best-selling author and is a professor of creative writing. Got to see her, got to see and meet and speak with Kwame Alexander. And he was absolutely lovely and amazing. And I got to tell him about how he is a big part of the reason why I decided to go on and get my doctorate's degree. He is an amazing author for all ages, writes novels in verse for middle grades. If you haven't heard of him, you probably have heard me talk about teaching the crossover or Rebound or Booked. Those are all his books, but he's also written picture books and just poetry books. He's got a new anthology coming out tomorrow of wonderful poetry, and he is an amazing speaker. He's just a really humble guy, and he's one of my heroes, and it was absolutely lovely to meet him and witness that. When I went back into the bookshop later after everybody had cleared out, he was wandering around the stacks. They had a room, like a conference room, and a set of books on this side that were like textbooks and supplementary things from one bookshop, and then a set of shelves on this side that were a woman from Austin, that's the bookshop woman, bookseller, and he made a point of going through both sides and purchasing from both sellers and thanking them for being booksellers, for being at the event, for taking the time to make sure that they had books by everybody um, that was presenting. It was just absolutely lovely to see. I didn't approach him at that point because I felt like it would probably be rude to be like, "Oh my God, Kwame," but it was very lovely to see all of that. So I'm not here to gush about that, though. I'm happy to be home and get back to my regularly scheduled programming. Uh, I am, however, excited um, about what I got to experience this past weekend and wanted to share that. Now, on the way to the conference, I started this book in print, and then as I was driving, I finished it on audio. It is Pilar Ramirez and the Escape from Zaffa by Julian Randall. This follows Pilar, who is a Dominican American who has grown up in Chicago, and her family, her mom, her grandma, and her dad before he passed, taught her the stories of their family. So both the myths and legends of the Dominican culture and also about being there before they immigrated and El Jefe and what was going on over there, and how her mother's best friend was her cousin, and her cousin disappeared when they were 13 or 14, something like that. And Pilar is doing a documentary. And so her big sister, who is in college, is like, "Hey, I've got this professor who is, studying this, and I told him all about you, and he'd like to meet you and see if he can help with your documentary or whatever," right? She goes to the office, guy's not there. She gets sucked into another dimension, and that's just at the very beginning of the book. The rest of the book, she is in Zaffa, which is an island that is part of the Dominican mythologies, and she meets myths and legends and creatures from these stories and finds out what happened to her cousin and a lot of other people that went missing, defeats the big bad. It's good. It's not the best mythology based action middle grade book I've ever read. 3.5, 4 stars for me. Like I said, it was good, but I feel like it could have been a lot better with just a couple of little tweaks. I did really like the fact that Pilar feels like she was raised in the mixed culture that she was raised in. When she speaks, if she gets excited in the book, like she'll switch back and forth between Spanish and English, and that part is fabulously done and reminds me of several of my students. Just the story itself, I felt could have, with just a couple of tweaks, been sent over the top. However, if you are looking for something that is not your typical Greek, Roman, Norse situation, I really don't think I've read anything that was Dominican based before. So this was great for that. And the other thing I read, I had started this in print and again finished it in audio, and that is Stephanie Holmes' A Dead and Stormy Night. It is book 1 in the Nevermore Bookshop Mysteries. This one I gave a 3.5 out of 5. Kind of a slow start, and I didn't really like the main character to begin with. And at the very beginning, it's hard to kind of get into it and figure out, the narrator's voice, if you will. But the more I went through it, the more I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed it enough that I went ahead and got the second book on audio and listened to it. And I ended up finishing this one, listening to book 2, which is Of Mice and Murder. Book 3, which is Jane Austen based, and it's something Pride and Premeditation. There we go. It's Pride and Premeditation, and then I am about 3/4 of the way through book 4, which is Memoirs of a Garrotter. There are 9 books in the series, so I'm almost halfway through. The first 3 were Audible originals that I got to listen to for free, and I'm invested enough now that I did not mind using a credit for book 4. I do want to warn you that if you are looking for a very cozy, like a typical cozy mystery, this is not going to be it. Now, the mystery part is, but it's also paranormal, and there are spicy times with 3. Hello. She's so happy I'm home. With 3 characters. The main character, Mina, ends up with 3 boyfriends who all know about each other. So it's a kind of reverse harem, why choose situation going on. And you do get spicy times. I'm not going to tell you anything about those male characters because figuring out who they are and what's going on is a big part of the first book and the kind of paranormal mystery aspect to it. But there's so much more. Mina's trying to figure out her family life. She's going blind, which is why she moves home and gets a job at the bookshop, all that jazz. So if that sounds interesting to you and you don't mind some spice, I would suggest that you might enjoy these books. Yeah, this dog is driving me insane. She's so happy I'm home. I was gone so long. That's all I've got for you guys today. I've still got a little bit of unpacking to do and a dog to wrestle. So I will talk to you again soon. Until next time, stay safe out there, guys.